So today, we're going to do something kind of fun. We're diving into one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time, Friends, but we're going to ask a big what if? What if we tweaked just one tiny little detail? You'll see that single change could literally unravel and then completely rebuild the story we all think we know so well. What if one small change could completely rewire the very heart of Friends? I'm not talking about some huge plot point, just something small, but something that would have absolutely massive consequences. Okay, so here's the change. It's all about the roommates. In the timeline we all know and love, Monica and Rachel live together. But what if it was Monica and Phoebe? Think about it. Same iconic purple apartment, same city, same group of friends, but trust me, this is a whole different story. So what's the very first thing that happens? Well, the vibe in that apartment, it completely flips. It basically becomes this daily clash of two polar opposites. We're talking pure, unadulterated order versus, well, beautiful, glorious chaos. I mean, you can just see it, right? Monica's up at the crack of dawn, cleaning a kitchen that's already cleaner than an operating room. And then in strolls Phoebe, humming some song she probably made up 30 seconds ago, leaving this trail of, beautiful but totally Monica maddening clutter. It's just a recipe for some seriously hilarious friction, 24/7. And this, right here, is the absolute key. See, in the original show, Rachel and Monica worked because Rachel kind of needed Monica's structure, which perfectly balanced out Monica's need to, control everything. But Phoebe doesn't need that. She is fiercely, unapologetically independent. So instead of a nice, neat balance, you get resistance, constant resistance. So you're probably thinking, okay, this is just going to be a disaster, right? They'll drive each other crazy. Well, maybe not. What if all that friction actually forced them both to change, to evolve in ways we never expected? So let's look at Monica's evolution. First, you've got this constant challenge. Living with someone she literally cannot organize or fix would drive her nuts at first. But then it would force her to face the absolute limits of her control freak nature. And you know what? Over time, that could actually help her become more adaptable, maybe even a bit more relaxed, and way earlier than we saw in the show. But here's the cool part. It's not a one-way street. Now let's look at Phoebe's evolution. For her, just being surrounded by all that structure day in and day out, it would have to rub off on her, right? Not because Monica's forcing her, but just through osmosis. She'd still be the quirky, free-spirited Phoebe we all love, for sure. But maybe, just maybe, with a little more consistency sprinkled in. So, what does this all mean? It means, instead of blowing up their friendship, all that conflict actually reshapes them. It's like a forge, It molds them into slightly different, maybe even more well-rounded versions of themselves. And you know how it is. When two people in a tight-knit group change, it's never just about them. It's like a ripple in a pond. It spreads out and affects everyone. So let's follow those ripples and see where they go. The first and probably biggest question on everyone's mind has to be this. What on earth happens to Rachel? I mean, think about it. Rachel's entire journey from that runaway bride to a self-sufficient powerhouse was pretty much built on having Monica as her daily support system. You take that away, and what happens? Does her journey just take way longer? Or, and this is interesting, could she find her independence on a completely different path, a path we never even got to see? And yeah, we got to talk about Chandler. What does all this chaos at home mean for Monica and Chandler? You could see it going one of two ways, right? On the one hand, maybe all that stress at home pushes her to find stability and comfort with Chandler even sooner. But on the other hand, what if she's just so emotionally drained from her living situation that their relationship gets put on the back burner? Maybe it doesn't even happen in the same way at all. It really could go either way. So playing out this whole what-if scenario, it actually tells us something really important about why the original show worked so perfectly. It gets right to the heart of what made Friends, well, Friends. See, the magic of Friends wasn't just about the witty one-liners. It was all about the chemistry. It was about putting the right people together in the right combinations. Sometimes they complemented each other like Monica and Rachel did, and sometimes they challenged each other, forcing each other to grow, which is exactly what our alternate Monica and Phoebe pairing does. It was all about that incredibly delicate, perfect balance. And really, that's what it all comes down to. This whole thought experiment just proves that sometimes the tiniest details, like who ends up sharing an apartment, are actually the invisible threads holding an entire story together. You pull on just one of those threads, and a whole different story unfolds. So the question for you is, which version of the story do you think you'd prefer?